When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandma thought it was cute, and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized that fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother because I was scared I would get in trouble for playing somewhere I shouldn't been. A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruise and sent me to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to a smaller room with a really nice lady who asked me questions about my life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As I was concerned, life was pretty good. She told me wherever I was sad, my grandma would give me some karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days, until they finally decided how did I get the bruise. News of the silly little story spread quickly through the school, and earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops, and I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Kids talking about rhymes, about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt less than the names we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. We would be lonely. There would never be someone to make us feel like the sun or something that was made for us in the tool shed. So we bled the blues until we emptied ourselves, until we felt nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. Sometimes curing it, the task is just too big. She was 8 years old. Our first day of college when she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of the class so we could stop getting bombarded by spitballs. The school halls were like battlegrounds. We found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside we had to rehearse running and sway and staying still like statues fearing someone would hit us. And the note in front of her desk, beware of dog. To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes a little less than half her face. Kids used to say that she was a wrong answer people tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done. And they'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. Because they see their heart before they see their skin has always been amazing. He was a broken branch scrapped to another family tree. Adopted. Not because his parents went for another destiny. They became a mixture of 3 before, 1 part alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade, running out of elements of tests and pills. Where like the uphills and the downhills were like suicide cliffs of an element called popper. 1 part because of the pills, 99 parts the tragedy. He tried to kill himself, a kid who could still go with mom and dad and have the audacity to tell him, get over it. See, depression is something that can be helped by an element. To this day, he's a stick of TNT lit from both ends. And as he sees the sky about to fall, and despite a whole army of friends who called him an inspiration, sometimes being drug-free has more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. People and kids were still being called names. The class is way stupid. It's bad. This is like the run of names getting updated every year. And if they see a kid getting hit, do they just like noise because they love to? Or just to say that kids can be cruel, because every school was like a top circus stand. From acrobats to lion tamers to clowns and carnies, all these people, we were freaks. All these lobster-clawed boys and bearded ladies, all those juggling freaks trying to spin the bottles, trying to kiss the wooden parts of ourselves. But at night, while the others slept, we kept walking the tightrope, practicing. Yes, some of us fell, but all of these is just a breeze. Then when we finally decided to smash all the things we thought we used to be. If you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get up in a mirror. Look a little closer, stand a little longer. Because there's something that made you build a cast around your broken heart and prove that they were wrong. Maybe because you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you up last in basketball or everything. You bring bruises, broken teeth, but how could you tell? How could you hold your ground? If everybody wanted to bury you underneath it, you had to believe that they were wrong. They had to be wrong. Why else should we still be here? We learn to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves sitting on a root branch of a tree, and we were not what we were called. We're not just an abandoned car sitting in some highway. And if we are somehow, don't worry. We only have to walk and get gas. We graduated members of the class if we made it. Of the faded echoes saying how names will never hurt me. But of course, they did. But our lives will keep on being a balancing act. It has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.